Lori here. I'm here today to start the second part of my Reading Rush reading vlog. In the first reading vlog, if you haven't seen that, I wound up reading 3 books, so I'm about to start my fourth, which is going to be Arlo Fitch and the Kingdom of Shadows. This was not on my original TBR, but I just got it from the library now that I can actually request books, and it will be for the prompt, read a book that has your birthstone color on it. My birthday's August, so my birthday's Peridot, and that is Peridot. So I decided to read this. I'm also happy because it kind of fulfills another one of the challenges that I'm trying to do more of. I'm trying to read more sequels and like ends of series. So this one is I'm super excited about. I read book 2 last year, I think. And this is the third and final book in this series. For those that don't know, this is a series about a young boy who's kind of like a ranger. He's very into that, but there's a mystical side to his rangerism, and this is the third book in that series. I don't want to talk too spoilery, but there's like 5 characters that we're following. And in this book, they're kind of going to figure out what happened to Arlo's dad, I think. I think if I'm right, I think that that's what happens in this book. I think they have to go find his dad. But I only read about, like 12 pages. So decided to like rain today. So I don't know if I just went for a bigger, but I was like caught in the rain. So actually I'm going to go try to read a little bit more, and I'll update you guys when I get about 50 pages. And this book only has 300 pages. So I'm going to try to make quite a bit of progress on it today. So yeah, I'm going to go do that. And then I'll update you guys when I've gone into the world a little bit more. I've only read 12 pages of it. So I'm going to go do that, and I'll update you guys when I feel like I have something to say. Bye, guys. Hi, guys. Lori here. I'm back. It's about 3 o'clock. I did want to reading a little bit more of Arlo Finch and the Kingdom of Shadows. I'm on page 70. This book is definitely like a direct sequel to the first one. They are on an adventure that involves Arlo's dad. If you've read the last couple of books, you know that his dad is like trapped in China because he's a hacker, I think, or like involved in some like illegal activity, so he can't leave China. This is all discussed in the first book, so this is kind of the adventure to go get him. And I'm liking it. I'm liking that it's like a continuation. I'm like that you're learning more about the characters that you've learned in the past couple of books. I'm grateful that it is subtly recapping what has been happening because it's been a bit since I read The Lake of the Moon. I really did like that book. I think that this is I think this is the last book in the series, but it's very, very fun. It's a very, very quick-paced read. I do like, the camping elements or like the ranger elements that are included in this series. I do like that there is a parental involvement in this part of the book because normally there's not. Normally the parents aren't really involved, but Arlo's dad does have a role in this. So I'm going to go try to see if I can work out with my dad. We are having some construction done, so it's kind of hard to tie him down for a little bit. I'll go do that, and if I can't do that, I'll probably read a little bit more of this book. So, talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. Sorry for the weird lighting. I'm being a little bit lazy, but I want to say that I went up playing a little bit of Animal Crossing, so now I'm going to dive back into Arlo Finch and the Kingdom of Shadows and try to make a little bit more progress on it. That is my plan of attack. I will report back when I read a bit more. It's a very, very fast-paced read, and I'm liking that it's a conclusion book. It's been a bit since I read a conclusion book. Like, I've actually been better at reading sequels this year, but not as good as I should be, so I'm happy that I'm actually doing this. So I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. It's Lori here. I'm back. It's almost 4:30. I just went up reading a little bit more of Arlo Finch and the Kingdom of Shadows. I'm now on page 100. The one thing I do like about this book, a little bit more than the other books in the series, is that there is a lot of adult involvement. And I always say this in middle grade. I sometimes struggle with books that have kids like with no parental involvement because I know it's like a fantasy world, but I sometimes wonder about the lessons it's teaching kids. So I kind of like books that have a nice balance between kids on their own and having adventures, but also books that have balance of kids and parents working together. The Keeper of the Lost City series does that very, very well, and I think in this book they are handling it really well, especially because they're dealing with a lot more harder issues that kind of deal with Arlo's dad basically being an enemy of the state, and how just because Arlo makes a decision doesn't mean it's the right decision. So I'm liking that. I'm liking that we're kind of diving into his relationship with his dad a little bit more. And I just like the landscape of this book a lot. So yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it. I'm not feeling my best today, I'll be a little bit honest. I worked out really early this morning. And then I didn't like eat anything afterwards, and I think that kind of like set me off on like a bad plan. But I'm gonna try to relax for the rest of the day, definitely get some more reading done. But I did read 100 pages, so with the other one I read about 250 at least today, which is pretty good. So I'm gonna keep reading, and I'll report back when I make a little bit more progress. Bye. This is Larry here. I am back. Today has not been the best vlogging day. I'll be a little bit honest. I haven't felt my best today. I took a little bit of a break. I watched an episode of Cursed, which is the new Arthurian inspired TV show. I like that show, and I like some of the characters in that show, but it's a little bit hard for me to watch that show because I was such a big Merlin fan. So whenever I see that show, like I hear about Uther and I hear about Merlin and I hear about Arthur, and I just want my characters from my actors from Merlin back. Like I'm liking the story, but I just miss those actors a lot. So I do love Catherine Langford. I really, really loved her from 13 Reasons Why, and I'm happy that she's working again, but I'm not the big I miss my characters from Merlin. So I might have to do a Merlin rewatch. We will see. But I did want to say that I did wind up getting up to page 163 in Arlo Fitch Kingdom of Shadows. I actually am really liking this book. I think it's a very solid, it's just like a different book in the series, and I'm curious if this is going to be the end of this series because they keep talking about like something that happens when the kids are much older. So I wonder if we're gonna get more books in this series like later down the line because they keep talking about like this bear trial that happened so much later in their lives, and it doesn't seem like we're gonna get that in this book. But I really am loving the characters in this book. I think it's super fun. I'm loving revisiting them. I'm loving the twist. I love how some of our villains from past books are like re-emerging. Very, very good. So I'm definitely going to pick this book up tomorrow. I definitely didn't read as much as I wanted today, but you know what? It's okay. I did wind up finishing Witchy, which I did earlier today, but that was in my last reading vlog. And I read about, I would say for the whole day, I read about 300 pages, which is pretty good. So I'm definitely going to pick this book up tomorrow. My goal is to finish this book tomorrow. If I could finish this book tomorrow, I would be super happy. So I'm going to check in with you guys tomorrow, and yeah, I'm going to debate what I want to watch. But I'll tell you about that tomorrow. Bye, guys. Larry here. I'm back. This lighting is so much better, so I think I'm going to try to film over here for now on. I normally film on my bed because I'm lazy, but I think I'm going to film over here. But it is the 24th. It's Friday. I have a few more days of Reading Rush left. I did make a little bit more progress on Arlo Fitch Kingdom of Shadows. I got up to page 210. I'm about to hit the climax of this book. I do have to go to a yoga class at like 10:30. So I actually did not do my Skillshare classes yesterday, like at all. It was not my day. So I think I'm going to do a little bit today, and then I'm going to kind of dive back into Arlo Fitch Kingdom of Shadows and kind of see what's up. And yeah, so that's kind of my plans. I'll check in with you guys probably before I go to yoga and just say if I wound up reading anything. But yeah, I'm gonna go do that and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hey, here I am back. It's 12:10. I did wind up going to my yoga class. I wound up eating. I wound up reading a little bit more of Arlo Finch and the Kingdom of Shadows by John August. I'm now on page 231, which I think I have about 100 pages left. Really, really liking it. It definitely took an unexpected like twist in the book. Like I wasn't expecting it to have like I'm curious if there's gonna be like a bigger thing at the end because yeah, it took a turn I was not necessarily expecting. But I do have some positive news as well. I did get my Fitbit Inspire, so I'm setting that up, which always takes a bit of time. I've been without a Fitbit, and I love my Fitbit. And I also got approved for my first tour with TBR and Beyond blog tours. They started after a couple of the other ones had to like shut down due to some bad business practices. So I am going to be on a blog tour for, let me look up, I signed up for like all of them, but I Ignite the Sun by Hannah C. Howard. So yeah, I'll have to read that pretty soon. Yeah, so I'm really excited about that. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of go try to tackle the rest of this. I was not feeling my best yesterday, but I am feeling a lot better today. Last night I also did watch half of an episode of Warrior Nun, which I'm intrigued by, but I didn't want to finish it, and I'll probably want to finishing it like this week. But yeah, I'm going to go dive back into Arlo Finch, watch some longer true crime videos, and I'll check in when I have about 30 pages left and let you guys know my thoughts. Bye. Hey, Slurry here. I'm back. I did want to say that it is about 1:30, and I did wind up getting up to page 293 in Arlo Finch and the Kingdom of Shadows. Still really liking this book. It definitely took like an unexpected turn in the middle of the book, but I think it's kind of a nice conclusion of all the books in the series. I really hope we get more. I'm gonna finish the tail end. I think that there's a choice that Arlo had to make in the middle of this book that he's kind of not that fond of. So I'm curious how he's gonna kind of rectify that a little bit. But yeah, really enjoying it. I'm still loving the trio of characters in this book. I've said this before. I love books that have a trio of characters. It's a callback from my Harry Potter days, like the trio Harry, Ron, Hermione. I always love a good trio in books, and I feel like this one with Wu, Arlo, and Indra is a nice trio of characters that I thoroughly am liking reading from. So I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll report back when I'm done. I don't have that much left. I have maybe like 30 pages, so I'll come in when I'm done. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Larry here, just checking back in. I wound up finishing Arlo Finch and the Kingdom of Shadows by John August. I wound up really liking this conclusion. I wish it wasn't the last book in the series because I still have so many questions about it. But what I liked about this book is it combined the supernatural mystery and elements, but also the family elements in this book because Arlo's dad was in quite a tight spot. I thought that they incorporated that really nicely. But again, like there is a lot of like he's 12 or 13 in this book, so there's a lot of stuff in the Rangers that we're just not gonna know because he's too young to be in certain levels. So I wonder if maybe we're gonna get like a subsequent series following different characters, but we're also gonna see him again because I would like that, but I really liked it. It was a fast-paced read. I thought the ending was a little bit rushed, but other than that, it was a solid read. So this is my fourth read for the reading-a-thon. I'm gonna try to go for a bike ride today. Yesterday did not work out well, like at all. But my next physical read I'm gonna pick up is Akata Witch by Nyada Okorafor, and I think that this is like a nice balance between middle grade and YA. It's set in Nigeria. There's she lives in Nigeria, but she was born in New York. So I think that this, from what Reagan says, she says it was like a nice balance between those two genres. And I did pick up book 2, so I'm hopefully gonna like this. I heard some very good things about it. So yeah, I think I'm going to see if I can go for a bike ride, but I'm probably gonna. I also didn't listen to anything of my the Thief's Daughter yesterday. I didn't even add my pages to the Reading Rush, so I'm gonna try to go for another bike ride and see if I can actually tackle this. But I do want to start this as well. So yeah, that's kind of my plan. I'll check in with you guys when I come back from all my errands and working out. Bye. Hey guys, Laurie here. I'm back. It's about 5:30, and I did want to reading up to page 40 in Akata Witch. This book is so interesting, but basically it follows this young girl named Sunny. Yeah, Sunny. And she was born in Nigeria, raised in New York, and then moved back to Nigeria when she was 9. And she is an albino, and she's basically teased mercifully because of being albino. And one, like the first chapter of this book, you know, she's on the ground, she's looking into a candle, and she sees visions of destruction in this candle. She doesn't really know like what's happening, but then she winds up meeting these two characters, Chi-Chi and what is Orlu. I think I'm saying those names correctly. And they wind up exposing her to somewhat of a magic system. I'll say that. That's the only thing I've read so far. But I'm really intrigued. The one thing I love about this book is like it has like documents from their world, and I love that because I almost think that that's better than like diving you deep into like a world that you don't really understand. But it gives you a lot of background information, so it makes your world building like a lot more seamless. But I'm really liking it. I know that it's eventually going to develop into a magic school, and I love settings like that. I'm also trying my hardest to read more diversely. I love that this book is set in Nigeria. I have not read any books in Nigeria, so I really like that. But yeah, so I'm gonna go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. Sorry here, I'm back. It's about 7:45 and I did wind up reading up to page 90 in Akata Witch. I'm really liking this book. I've said this before. I like beginning fantasy novels where the character is also learning about the world, like whatever that system is or whatever that magic system is, because I think it's easier as a reader for me to kind of follow along. I do think that books where like the character is ingrained in the system does work. I just think the author has to be really good at like world building to not overpower us with information. But the one thing I didn't mention in this book before is that I didn't know is that it is set in modern day. So they have cell phones, they have technology. This book is set in Nigeria. And basically, Sunny gets kind of sucked into this magical world, or this magical system, which is basically called, let me see what they call it. It's called something. It's called a leopard person. That's basically what it is, and it's like a magical person. These people can exist all over the world. She winds up becoming friends with two kids, one that goes to her school, one that doesn't, and they kind of suck her into this magical world. And she's kind of learning about it. But then you also have this character named Sasha who's from America, and you kind of get his point of view about being black in America, which I'm really enjoying. And then there's basically a murderer happening that's kind of killing kids. So she's I think that's eventually going to kind of tie back in. But there is a magic school element that's going to develop soon. But I'm really liking the character. She doesn't have the best relationship with her parents. It's just a really interesting book, and I'm really loving like the pages that we get that are kind of like expanding the world a little bit, because I like that in like I normally like that in contemporary novels because I think it kind of like fleshes out the world a little bit, but I'm really liking it here as well because this is stuff that I literally have no idea about. And also you get pages that have like graphics in it. So I'm really hopeful that I like it. I'm really enjoying it. I haven't watched any of my booktube videos yet. I'm trying to catch up on the other ones. But yeah, I'm gonna go back to reading and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm checking back in. It's almost 9 o'clock and I did actually wind up reading up to page 122 in Akata Witch. This book is really, really fun. I'm really liking it. It kind of reminds it's a very different type of read. I've never read a book set in Nigeria, and I've never read a magic system quite like this before. But basically, the way that this magic system develops is anything that is imperfect about you kind of becomes your strength, and that imperfect thing that like normal people kind of tease you about, that kind of becomes where your magic is built, and I think that that's really interesting. I really like that. I also really like how they are diving into um the how they would be treated in America, because I think that that's a really interesting dichotomy. I like that we're having four characters that are working as a unit. I like that we do have a magic school element, but it's kind of a different type of magic school than I've ever really read before. I'm loving the side parts that we're getting, because that's also really expanding the world, but it's also kind of taking elements that we know about Nigerian culture and like transforming it into like a magical element, which is one thing I'm loving. I'm loving Sunny as a character a lot, and I think again her type of character is very different in this world, and I'm liking learning about that. So today, because I just did my mental math, I wound up reading about 302 pages, which was the end of Arlo Finch and the Valley of Shadows, and 122 pages in Akata Witch. I didn't wind up counting my pages in The King's Traitor. I mean, the Thief's Daughter. I'm probably going to count that maybe over the weekend. I just didn't read enough over the past couple of days because it's been so wet and rainy. And I didn't go on as many bike rides as I should have, and my Fitbit was broken. But I am really liking that book. That book definitely has deviated more towards the political side of things, which I really am liking. So yeah, I'm gonna pick this book up tomorrow, and I'm not gonna rush myself. I've been rushing myself a lot during this readathon because I know that school's coming, and I really like want to have some more time to read. So I'm gonna go watch something. I don't know what I'm gonna watch, to be honest with you. I haven't really decided that. But I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow I do have to do a bunch of errands. It's coming up to the end of the month and I have to do like a lot of like pre-posts and stuff like that. So that's probably going to be my morning. I'll probably do like run through all of my little errandy stuff. I have a lot of errands. But then I can probably have Saturday and Sunday to kind of like just relax and go to yoga and read. So I'm hopeful tomorrow morning will kind of be my errandy day. But yeah, I'm gonna go kind of decompress for a little bit, find something to watch, and I'll check in with you guys later or tomorrow morning. Bye. Sorry, my clip kind of cut out, but I will then have more time to kind of read. I still do hope that I can read at least 6 books this weekend. I doubt I'll be able to do 7. But yeah, so that's kind of my plans. I will check in with you guys tomorrow. But yeah, talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey, Larry here. I'm back. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning. I did wake up a little bit more earlier than I normally do because I do know that I have a lot of errandy stuff that I have to get done. I have about 13 things on my to-do list that I have to get done before the end of the week, and I'm really going to try my hardest to devote myself for the next 2 hours to all the things on my list. Most of it is blogging stuff, most of it. So yeah, I'm going to go do that. I'm going to kind of put some background noise on. The thing is, when I do errands like this, I normally don't listen to audiobooks because I really need to focus on what I'm listening to. So yeah, I'm probably just gonna put on like a true crime video that I watched before and kind of do that. But I am really excited to dive into Akata Witch later today. I'm still on page 118, but I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a very unique fantasy novel. So yeah, I'm gonna go kind of set myself up for today, and when I come back, I'll hopefully be ready to read. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey, it's Lori here. I'm back. I didn't wind up doing some of my errands. I didn't wind up doing all of them, but I wound up doing a good amount. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go for a bike ride because it's not that hot out, and I'm going to try to listen to a little bit more of The Thief's Daughter and read Akata Witch. I'm on page 121. So that's kind of my goal. I'll check in with you guys when I come back and give you guys my thoughts, but that's my plan of attack. Talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. I'm back sitting outside. It rained like the past couple of days, so we're also having work done on the house, so it's kind of hard to sit outside when all those elements are happening. So I'm trying to enjoy the outside when I can, because I think it's supposed to have more work done next week. We're getting our roof redone, but so I did want to be making a little bit of reading progress on Akata Witch. I'm now on page 146. This book is really in depth, and it's really interesting because I don't think I've ever read like a fantasy novel that has a school that happens in like secret. Like I normally have powers that are kept secret from parents, or like they'll go to a boarding school and they don't know what they're learning at the boarding school, but I've never really been in a situation where the learning happens in secret. So that's kind of interesting. I do like that we get like these, these little sections that are kind of help expand the world. I like all the characters and I'm really just engaged. It's a very like rich story that also pulls from Nigerian culture, but also kind of ties back to American culture, because Sunny and the other one, the boy, Sasha, they're American, or they've been Americanized. And then I like the beauty of the magic system where like their strengths are in their differences. That kind of reminds me a little bit, like not a lot of, but like what they do with the demigods in the Percy Jackson series. Like, your strength makes you appear different. Like you have this and you have that. Like your ADHD and your dyslexia is because like your brain's hardwired. So it kind of is like kind of expanding that and saying your weaknesses really are your strengths, and I'm loving that. But yeah, it's a great read. So I'm gonna turn on some much longer videos and I'm gonna read. I'll read until I get to probably maybe 2 more chapters, and then I'll check in with you guys. Bye. It's Larry here, just checking back in. It's almost 2:30. I did wind up reading up to page 207 in Akata Witch. I'm really enjoying this book. I've said this before. I like books that kind of expand a world, and I think that a book set in Nigeria is a really cool book. I love the magic system. I really like the characters. I also like that the mystery in this book, like the murder mystery, is kind of becoming a little bit more a little bit more connected to Sunny and her friends. I said this when I was reading the Keeper of the Lost City series. One thing that I really do appreciate, sorry, you're going to hear a plane above me. I live near a landing place. But the one thing I like about the Keeper of the Lost City series is that the adults let the kids do what they have to do and is not treating them as like a babying them, and they're really letting them do the work. Definitely in Keeper of the Lost Cities, I feel like there's a lot more guidance, like the way that Shannon Messenger structured her book. There's less guidance in here, but they're still learning. I think that that's interesting. We also did learn a little bit more about Sunny's past and how why she is a free agent. And yeah, I'm just really, really liking it. I think it's a fun read. There was also some unexpected elements that happened that I wasn't necessarily expecting. I'm curious if we're going to get any more parts from like the reading, because they kind of said that was over, but I really did like that. I thought that the free agent book as like a resource was super helpful. So yeah, I'm going to go back to reading. I think I'm definitely going to go for a walk later and go get something to eat, but I'm going to try to read. This is still a Reading Rush vlog, so I'm trying to read as much as I can. But yeah, so I'm going to go back to reading, and I'll talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Hey, it's Lori here. I'm back. It's about 3:43. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to go walk to town and listen to my podcast and all that fun stuff. But I wound up getting up to page 242 in Akata Witch. It's very interesting. The structure of this book is really unique because you're very much like free-falling. There still is like the underlying mystery of this book. I don't know if this mystery will be like wound up at the end of this book or if it will go for the whole series. But I'm liking her as a character. I think she's very like innocent in a lot of ways, and I think she's kind of just learning about the world because she really is a newbie to everything. I do like the side characters. There's a lot of training that happens kind of like off the page. I'm liking the relationship with her parents is kind of being expounded on a little bit. It's very, very interesting though. So I think I'm gonna take a little bit of a break, and I'll check in when I come back from my dinner. Bye guys. Hey, it's Lori here. I didn't actually want to go and get pizza. My parents decided they want to have pizza, so I'm waiting to eat. But I did go for a walk because it's not exactly as hot as I thought it was going to be. So we did go for a walk. I did actually wind up getting up to 312 in Akata Witch. The thing about this book is I'm liking it. I'm loving the world building. I'm loving the world building. I'm loving the characters. The plot and the pacing and the magic system, I think, are just, it's being developed in like a little bit of like a weird way. I still am not 100% sure what their powers are. So like, and I don't know if they're very good at using their powers necessarily. Like, they're doing things that like they're getting in trouble for, but like I haven't actually seen the four of these characters like work together yet to like success. So like they're being basically sent to like take down, like basically there's a serial killer and they have to be the ones that are in charge of taking him down. But what I don't understand is why they're the ones tasked with this and why it's their responsibility. So like I think it's a very, very good book. Like, I like it. I'm just the mechanics of choosing these characters at this point in their, like, career, I guess, is a little bit, like, interesting. Especially because Sunny, like, has only known about this world for, like, 5 days or, like, a month or something. So, that's, like, a little bit interesting. I'm curious if, like, the next witch is called Akata Warrior. So, I'm wondering if, like, that will be more of the training elements. And this is just her, like, getting used to, like, her magic. And she's very, like, out of step with her, like, group mates because they've been in this system for so long. So, like, that's a confusion for me, but I'm sure she's confused too. But, so, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on that. Like, I like it. I'm intrigued. I'm worried that they're not magically ready for this situation that they're being led to. So, yeah, that's kind of my thought. The magic school or the magic element, like, the training, we hear about it, but there's no, like, practical applications of them doing magic other than, like, one or two things. So I'm just a little bit confused about that. But I'm excited to see how it wraps up and see if it wraps up in this book, because I think it could kind of go both ways. So I'm going to go finish this, and I'll report back when I'm done. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. So I'm back. I did actually find up finishing Akata Witch, which I'm actually really happy about. I thought this was such an interesting YA fantasy novel. I think it's YA. I know Reagan says that she thought it was middle grade. I can see why it's middle grade, but I wound up really liking it. The highlight of this book was definitely Sunny as a character. I think she's so unique and so different. I really like that albumism was like a part of her character. I love that this book was set in Nigeria. I just loved all the characters. I love that it really spoke about diversity and also sexism in this society. I thought that was really interesting. I struggled a little bit with the development of the magic system. Not necessarily the world building, but the magic system in this. I felt like there was a little bit of like a disconnect between the training and the end game of this book. Like, I still feel like I'm a little bit lost about that, but I'm hopeful that book 2 will kind of expand on that. So, this prompt was for read a book not in your country. So, I doubt I'm going to finish the last 2 prompts. But I am going to try to do the last one, which is going to be pick a first book that you touch. I'm going to film that for you guys so I keep myself honest. So I'm going to go get that set up. I'll film it and then we'll chat through what that book's going to be. Bye. Hey guys, Lori here. I'm back. So it's not the best angle, but I'm going to try to show them to you. So the books I'm going to kind of pick from is Throw Like a Girl by Sarah Henning, which is her first foray into YA contemporary. This is my Kindle, so I have Lobezina on here, which is a book that I actually do need to read for a tour that I'm on at the end of the week. So whatever happens, this will probably be the next book I read if I don't get chosen. The Crow Rider by Kayla Josephine, which is a book that I just got in the mail, and this is the conclusion to the Stormcrow duology. And Wondersmith, The Calling of Morgan Crow by Jessica Townsend. So I'm going to spin 3 times. Close my eyes. I doubt you're going to be able to see that. I'm going to try to film it. If it doesn't film it, I'll just cut the clip, but I'm going to try to film it. So, and then whatever book I touch is the one that I'm going to read. Let me see if I can, like, do this properly. I don't know if it's going to work, but let me see. Okay. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to turn 5 times. 3, 4, 5. Oh, I landed on 2. What does 1 do? Alright. I guess I'm going to read this one. Because my hand landed on... You know what? Alright. I'm going to try to redo it. I'll take away these 2. And I'll separate these. Because those were like a little bit closer together. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, alright. I'm going to read Lobezina, and I will start that. It's not that long, but yeah, this is the book that I was actually hoping, but I'll be right back after I get non-dizzy, and we'll discuss. Bye. Hey, Lori here. I'm back. I did actually wind up reading a little bit of Lobezina, so I'm actually really intrigued by this book. Earlier this year, I watched a TV show, which was called Gifted. It was on Fox. It was only on for 1 season. It was only 13 episodes, but it very much equated like the ice and that dynamic with being mutants. So this right now is kind of like has very, very similar vibes, but you basically follow this young girl and her mom and someone who's like a grandmother to her, and they're living in Florida, and she has some, I would say it's definitely she's something. Like, Lobezina means something, and we learn that means werewolf. But whenever they talk a lot about periods and menstruation, which I think is awesome. But like, whenever that happens, she kind of like is basically immobilized, and she kind of gets sucked into this other world, which I think is really interesting. And then they're talking about ice agents, and they're living in Florida, so they're not a sanctuary state, and they're not citizens yet. We also learned a little bit about her past, but I'm really curious about this world she goes into when she's basically like drugged. Like, that's really interesting to me right now. But I'm finding it interesting. I only read about like 2 chapters, so I don't know if she's a werewolf or like she becomes a werewolf. But I know Lobezina means werewolf. I don't know if that's a spoiler. But I'm very curious by this character. I think like that kind of concept, like kind of like dream walking, has always been really, really interesting to me. So I'm gonna go back to reading, and I'll update you guys when I can. Bye. Hey, Lori here. I'm back. It's about 8:14. I did want a reading up to about 15% done in Lo Bozena. I'm probably saying that word wrong, but I'm still like not 100% sure what the book's about. To be very honest, I know that it takes place in Florida. There's some magical creature element with our main character, but I don't know what it is. There's also a lot of like secrecy and lies between her and her mother. There's an incident with the older woman that they're living with, and now she's in a hospital somewhere. But there's a lot of magical stuff happening, and I'm just not totally sure what's going on. So I hope the next time I chat with you guys, I will have read a little bit more. I'm gonna go to yoga tomorrow morning, and it just depends if I'm gonna read it up to yoga, like if I decide I have to read it. Because the point I left off was a point that like I think the story is probably gonna kick. But yeah, so I'm gonna stop reading for the night. I think I'm gonna try to finish season 2 of Avatar. That's kind of the plan of attack. But yeah, I'll check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye. I'm back. So I took like a lot of time off this morning. I went to yoga. I got some bad blisters on the bottom of my feet because I was wearing the wrong shoes. Another story for another day. But I did want to making a little bit of reading progress. So I'm about. It's one thing I don't like about reading on my Kindle. You can never tell how many pages you are, which normally I don't mind. But when I'm in the middle of a reading, like a readathon, and I'm trying to figure out how many pages I've read, a little bit problematic. But it says I've read 22%, which I would say I read about 100 pages so far. So I read about 50 pages more today. This book is so interesting. Like, it's such a compelling read. I think such an important read. But it basically follows this young girl, and her mom is undocumented. And that's one issue that she has. Like, that's like one issue. And then there's another issue that she looks different. Her eyes, are more like creepy looking, I'll say, and that kind of come from her dad line. But when the woman they're living with gets rushed to the hospital, her world starts to unravel, and it just has a lot of conversations about ICE agents and being undocumented in America, and that part really like tugged at my heartstrings. Like, it's really hard to read, I'll be honest. Like, you want to like go in and like make sure everyone's okay, and that's like there's some quotes here that just really like broke my heart. So now it's getting into a more supernatural aspect of it, but I don't know what that is yet. She wound up going to this place, and she's starting to see people that have the same eyes as her, which she's always been told that her father is evil or her father is involved with some nefarious activity. So that's the part that I'm up to. Also last night I did want to finishing season 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And I started watching a new show with Ellen Page, called Tales of the City. I adore Ellen Page. I've watched everything Ellen Page is in, and she's in Umbrella Academy, which I'm loving. I actually have to try to get her Funko for my collection. But yeah, so I actually got a lot of TV watching last night. So my goal is to finish this book today. It's only 400 pages, and I didn't really read a lot yesterday, so that's kind of my goal. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some true crime videos as background noise and try to power my way through. So when I read another 50 or 100 pages, I'll update you guys. Bye. Hey, Larry here. I'm back. Sorry, the lighting's a little bit weird. But I went up reading about to 32% in Lo Bozena. Still really liking it. I'm still a little bit confused. I'll say that. Like, the world building is very, very slow. And we're in like a very weird situation where she doesn't know what's going on, and the people she's with isn't telling her what's going on because they think she knows what's going on. But she's getting a little bit more information about her, which puts her in kind of a very parallel situation to what's happening to her undocumented status in America. So that's kind of interesting, but I just want more information about the world. Just want more, because I feel like I know what she is, but I could be wrong, because like it's not as clear as I would like it to be. I'll say that. I also did watch that episode I was saying with Ellen Page. I'm very intrigued about that show. Like, it's just I'm curious. So I think I'm gonna keep watching that. I'm also watching Unsolved Mysteries. I don't know if I'm gonna finish this book today, but I'm sure I'm gonna try that I will. I like it. I just think it needs to be a little bit more clear. I'm loving the stuff about the undocumented and the ICE components of this novel because I think that's super interesting. But I just need a little bit more information about the actual magic system because that's where I'm getting confused. But talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm back. It's almost 5 o'clock. This reading vlog is probably going to be one of my longer ones because I'm still not done with Reading Rush. But I wound up getting up to 45% in Lobezina. This book is really interesting. Like, I'm loving the ice elements. I'm loving how she's kind of an outsider in both her magical world but also the real world. I like that. I think the world building for this system, because I am not familiar with this stuff, I think it's just a little bit slower for me because I need everything kind of like force fed to me a little bit. Well, not, but like explained. But I do like that we're getting more information about that. I do like that it's definitely like a slow burn story. Right now there's no real romance. But I'm intrigued enough to keep reading. I do like it. I'm really impressed with the ice elements and like the deportation elements. I think that that's a story that like I don't like it, but I think it's an important read. I do like the magic system. It kind of reminds me a little bit because I literally am in the middle of reading Avatar. But I like they have like brujas that are like fire, water, earth, you know, air. I don't know if this, but those are like the combinations that they have. But yeah, it's definitely like it's more of like an emotional gut punch read. I'll say that because there's always that underlying like truth to it. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I don't think it's gonna be like a new favorite, but I'm definitely liking it. I'll definitely read more. So I'm gonna go read a little bit more, watch some unsolved mysteries in the background, and I'll report back when I'm about at like 60%. And hopefully I can tackle a majority of this book today. That would be great. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey, Lori here. I'm actually here to wrap up this reading vlog because I did want to finish in Lobezina. I will admit it wasn't my favorite read. I think I struggled a little bit with the pacing, but the one thing I loved about that book was that it really did take the illegal immigration and illegal immigrants and put it into a magic system novel. I liked how there was a lot of comparisons between being an illegal immigrant but also like being an illegal in their magic society. I thought that was really interesting. I really felt a little bit unconnected to the characters, and I think the pacing of it was a little bit awkward at points. But it's definitely a book I would probably read again, maybe as like an audiobook whenever it does come out, because I've read this as an e-arc. But I also, in this vlog, I finished reading, I think it was 2 books. So I think I can't remember, but I think I finished reading Arlo Finch and the Valley of Fire, I think, which I actually wound up liking. I wound up giving that 4 stars. That was a concluding novel in a series for me. Wound up really liking it. I also wound up reading Akata Witch by Nerida Okorafor, and I wound up giving this 4 stars. I thought that this was a really fun read. One that I'll definitely be reading book 2. I really did like the magic system. I like the pacing of this book, but I struggled a little bit with the magic system. I thought that it wasn't developed as properly. And I haven't done any of the other like prompts they gave you, but one of the prompts to talk about your favorite bookish memories, and I have so many favorite bookish memories. This year is a little bit hard because of due to the COVID stuff, we can't really have any bookish conventions. But those honestly are my favorite. Like, I love going to book conventions. I like plan for it all year. It's a time when I get together with all my friends. We get some new books. We chat. We run around the Javits Center like crazy people. And that's just fun. I get to meet a lot of authors. You know, getting free books is always fun. But I really do it because it's an enjoyable experience. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up this reading vlog. I really had so much fun during Reading Rush. I think I definitely read more books than I normally do. But yeah, I hope you guys are staying safe and being well. Tell me if you participated in Reading Rush. What were the challenges that you completed? I was able to complete 6, which I think that's pretty good. The only challenge I didn't complete was read a book totally outside, and that is because my audiobook listening fell a little bit down the drain this week, or I probably would have been able to. But yeah, I'll talk to you guys for my next reading vlog. Bye.